Hey y'all, it's Brandon with Overland 2 Water. Today I'm going to be doing something a little different. I'm not going to be working with this. I'm not going to be working with this. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to be installing something on the front of the Suburban. Open Road winch. It's from openroad4wheeldrive.com. I've seen a few YouTubers use these and they seem like they're pretty good. It's 13,000 pounds over Harbor Freight's 12,000 pounds. So that was the reasons why I went with it using the Suburban, is that I wanted something that was as big as possible, but I'm also cheap. I think I got this one on sale for about $400, I think is what it was. So, but don't hold me to that. I can't remember. It's been a few weeks. But it comes with synthetic winch line. It's 13,000 pound winch. The design's a little different than some of the other ones I've seen. This one is the Panther Series Plus, I believe is what it's called. So it's made a little different here, where the gears and the clutch is. So it's a little faster line speed. What the specs are, find them real quick. Alright, so it's rated at 13,000 pound single line pull. It's a 6 horsepower. It comes with corded remote, 2 cordless ones. It has 3-stage planetaries. It's 265 to 1. It's an automatic brake. It's 3/8 synthetic line. So its overall dimensions are 20.8 inches by, I believe, 6.5 inches by 8.5 inches. Bolt pattern is 10 on 4.5. Everybody's asked me how come I went with this instead of the Badlands, and it was because this is basically because this is 13,000 pound winch, and it was $200 cheaper than the Badlands 12,000 pound. So you can see it comes with spare lead, instruction manual, comes with a hat. I don't wear a hat. Your wired remote, all the cables you need. Clutch handle, and a metal hook. One thing I would like to do, all metalist on it, but for now, this will work for now until I figure out what I'm going to do with that. That's basic information on it. I don't have much to say good or bad about it yet. I've not used it yet. This is just kind of a unboxing. Even though it's been unboxed and I've looked at it, I've sat it in the truck to see what all I need to do. So I'm going to install that today. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get the truck ready. I'm going to pull the grill and stuff off of it. The way I have the bumper made, I can't quite, it won't fit in there. I got to pull the light off of it. Get it all squeezed in there, that way I don't break anything. Get that in there, see what needs to be done. I may have to clock the clutch to bring it a little forwards so I'm not digging underneath the grill to engage the clutch. Cheap light. That's one thing that Open Road does have. They do have some other stuff besides winches. I've seen some lights, some other winch accessories. I think I even seen like trailer hitches and stuff. So I thought that was kind of neat. But their lights, I may be interested in picking up some of their lights. So that's something. I've not seen any reviews on those yet. So I'd like to pick a couple of them up and just try them out and give them a review on YouTube. There you go. Not much that holds these Chevy grills in. Little tabs on the side. All right, so hopefully they're done shooting fireworks. So I got the grill off. I'll set this in here and just see. So the way it's made, take you over here and show you here real quick. You can see the way I built the bumper, it's real close to the core support there. And it appears that I'm gonna have to clock the clutch handle there. One thing I have learned is that first thing you need to do from all the other YouTubers videos is to put the fair lead on. It appears that all the fair lead bolts are stainless steel. So that is a just kind of a universal winch mount from Rough Stuff Specialties that I welded on the bottom of the frame there. Looks like it's going to have to be clocked. So let's take a look at that. All right, so I was looking at this, and normally on a winch you have to pull the whole gearbox side off and clock it from the inside there. With this one here, appears it's going to be really easy, which for people that have a foot forwards winch, that's going to be real nice because you don't have to take the winch apart. So these bolts around here, I'm going to pull them apart and we'll see. But I didn't see any instructions in there for clocking the clutch handle. But one thing I did see in there was that a lot of people previously complained about was there was no pictures. There's plenty of pictures in this one. Pretty easy to follow. Not sure of is I may have to release the clutch before I open this up. I'll put the clutch handle on it. It appears to be much the same size. Also, another thing on the clutch handle, unlike other winches, is to release the clutch on this, you pull up and turn. And then now the clutch is released, and then to engage it, spin it around and lock it. So that's one thing that's easy. All right, zoom in and get a little better picture of this. So you see these little bolts I'm taking out. Tiny little lock ring on them, or lock washer. Sorry. Here's 3 bolts left in it. It's already come apart. All right, it looks like that's going to be the way I clock it. right, yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and undo this clutch. See if this will slide apart. If you've never seen the inside of a clutch, there's planetary gears, and this is the axle that goes from the motor, or the drive propeller shaft, I guess you'd call it, goes from the motor all the way through the drum, and then it turns these planetaries in this ring here to give you your reduction. Oh, okay. So yeah, it's got a big lock ring in there, so the sun ring there won't come out. So that does appear to have plenty of grease in it. Should have grabbed a rag anyway. Now see, one thing here that looks pretty nice is that it's got a rubber seal in it instead of a paper seal. A lot of winches have paper seals there, and this is a rubber seal. So I'm gonna stand this up, and I can clock it any direction. I've seen some of the older videos, they had to be clocked every 90 degrees, straight up, straight sideways, straight down. But this one here, the holes are spaced out evenly, so I can clock this on every 10 degree intervals or so. So that makes it nice. All right, so I think I'm gonna clock this about 20 degrees. It all slid back down in there. Make sure you don't tear that rubber. That will definitely make it easy for the people that have the foot forward winch mounts to be able to spin this around whichever direction you want. That'll be really nice. Yeah, so there he's it'll work good. Okay, so the next thing that I see on other videos that people mess up on is they don't go ahead and put the wiring on the winch before they put it on the truck. Which this one was already on there, and I took it off to test fit it. Let's get the ground wire. I don't know how many foot that is. It's pretty good length there. Don't have my knife. Let's see here. It looks like probably about 5 foot of wire. So the first thing I'm going to put on is going to be the ground, and it goes on the bottom. Alright, that on there facing the rear of the vehicle. Now the control module, you can see they're color coded. Oh, that goes on this ground too. Take that back off. But as you can see, those are color coded. I believe this is the ground wire for the remote, the wireless remotes. Always try to use a wrench on these terminals. You don't want to spin it loose from the windings inside there. All right, you see this ground wire goes here on this one. They're color coded. Yellow to yellow, black to black, and red to red. Alright. The long red wire goes to the battery along with the long black wire. And then the short red wire goes here on the motor. And one thing I'm going to do before I slide the boots on, I'm going to get some battery terminal spray and spray on those, keep them from corroding. So this is some battery terminal protection. Just like spray a little bit of that on here. And to help it from corroding. We'll slide the boots down. Alright. God, I'm more used to leaving those pliers. Well, should have started with those. Put all that on there. So it comes with this little bracket to place on here anywhere you want. I've seen some of the other people were complaining because of the clamp-on style that they didn't like the way it worked, and they also thought that the screws would come in and contact the rope, which after you rewound the rope, you should have made this smaller and it'd never come in contact anyway. But they did upgrade, so they are listening to the customers. So this will bolt on the side here, and your bracket will sit there like that. But the way my bumper is designed, tucked up real tight, I can't do that. So I had to make another bracket to extend the control box forwards away from my radiator. I made this, and it'll fasten. This piece will fasten here, and then this piece will fasten here to move my box forward. Probably could have designed it to be a little more sleek. I could have trimmed it down here and then brought it up. That's the way I do stuff. One other thing you could do, you could buy longer wires and relocate it under the hood there, and that would be acceptable too. I don't have the wires or the terminals to do it. I actually have some wire, I just don't have the terminals to do it. That may be something I do at a later point, is bring it inside the hood. Alright, now let me find some bolts to do that, and then this bracket will sit. Bring it forwards like that. Alright, that pulled down pretty good. Now I'll take these Phillips screws out of the bottom here and figure out where I want to mount this. Let me throw it on the truck real quick and see. think that is it. Tighten these up. You can see how I'm gonna have to tighten my power steering cooler lines up away from the winch there. And then you can see my box just clears the bumper. So it's gonna look good. All right, so one thing I didn't think about, the way I have to put the winch in, I have to turn it sideways and bring it down. And the square nuts that go in the bottom here are, you know, they just sit in there. So when I tilt it up, they'll dump out. But one thing I'm gonna do here is on the inside, I'll just take a little bit of tape and stick over the hole. Painter's tape will work good because you can peel it off easy. Just a little piece, just to stick over the hole. That way, when you tilt it sideways, don't fall out. All right, so one thing that I'd recommend anytime you run this big of a, anytime, don't matter how big, anytime you run a hot wire across the chassis, across through a body panel or anything, always put some extra type of chafing resistance on it. I mean, these wires here, they got a pretty good coating, but every little bit you can help out. I mean, that may save a fire someday. So I'd always put something else on that. The ground, it don't matter. You chafe through a ground, you're just gonna make another ground really. So, but always, anytime you're running the hot wire through the body or along the chassis, put some other type of protection on that wire. So you can see there, I run an extra spiral of electric tape around the protective coating there. And really that's just to keep the wire from popping out of the loom. So say if it makes a bend and it wants to open the loom, it won't let the wire pop out of the loom. I'll just hold it in there a little better. And then I'll wrap a little extra around the sections that'll be against the chassis, just for good measure. All right, so since the control panel or control module wires are all real close to my transmission cooler lines, I went ahead and put this extra little bit on all of them. Not something you have to do. Probably on a Jeep or something you wouldn't have to worry about it. It's just something I did for extra precaution there. All right, so you can see here, the battery I have has extra accessory posts on it, and that's what I'm going to tie it to, the accessory post. All right, so that was the install. That was pretty easy. I'm going to put the hook on it now. I'd say if you can run the wires for your own lights, you can do that winch no problem. One thing I've seen that Open Road has, they have a thimble instead of this hook. I wish that was an option it came with, but it don't. So that's what you got. This is what you got to use. One thing I'd recommend is the quarter pin here. Smash it down flat where you can, and then cut it so it don't cut you when you use it. Stretch this thing out here and take a look at it. One thing I would recommend is if you don't have a power cutoff switch on the hot side of your cable underneath the hood, then make sure you always keep your winch on neutral, because as many electronics as there is now, you just never know when you may get interference, and that could ruin your winch, ruin your bumper, start a fire. I mean, it could do all kinds of stuff.